linked records. What are they? Why are they so important? Let's talk about it. So linked records are one of the most important concepts in all of Airtable. They let you essentially relate data between your tables. So you can think about relating a user to a company or a task to a project. This is all possible because of linked records. So today, let's talk about exactly how you build them into your Airtable app. To illustrate linked records, let's take a look at our CRM example one more time. So we have a contacts table here with a bunch of contacts, a companies table here with a bunch of companies. And what we're going to want to do is link our contacts to our companies, right? You think about a real CRM. Any person in your CRM, in your HubSpot CRM, would be linked to the company they work at. And so to do this in Airtable, all we're going to do is scroll all the way to the right, click on plus, link to another record, and then choose the table we want to link to. So in this case, companies, and then create the field. And that is it. Airtable has created a linked record for us. In engineering terms, it's a foreign key where these contacts are linked to a company. So now when I want to take, let's say, Amy here and add a company, it will draw from the list of companies that are in this table. So I can't just type in anything I want. I will have to use one of the ones on this list. So let's say Airbnb. And there we go. Amy is now linked to Airbnb. Brian Jeske, also an Airbnb guy, right? And you can do this for any of the companies there. You can actually type whatever you want. So if I wanted to say, let's take Meta. It doesn't exist. I can just create it. And when I create it here in Airtable, it will actually create that record on the table that is linked. So Meta shows up now in my companies table. And that's really the basics here of linked records. You can also see that on the other side of this, Airtable has automatically created the reverse, right? So over in contacts, right, I now have a link between contacts and companies, and the reverse is true. So companies now have a link over to contacts. So you can see on Airbnb, which we just added to those two contacts, they exist here, Amy and Brian, in the reverse. Now, let's just talk about some of the settings on this linked record. So if I click into the linked record field, it'll show me some of my options here. The key one to call out is allowing linking to multiple records. So all this is saying, and this is the default, is that I could actually link someone to more than one company in this case. So instead of just Airbnb, we can also link them to Stripe and Whalesync, and that's allowed. If I toggle this off and save, it's basically going to not let me do that anymore. So now if I try to link more than one, it won't let me, right? So again, depending on the relationships and the type of linked records, this may or may not be something you care about, but an option to customize as you like. You now know how to use Airtable linked records. So let's wrap this up with a quick lesson on what this means when thinking about engineering. So Airtable, despite being a no-code tool, is super powerful because it's built on actual engineering principles. And so as you think about things like fields and records, right, these are straight out of an actual engineering database. And linked records are no different. So a linked record is Airtable's version of what's called a foreign key. So if you are someone who's a no-coder or does not program, understanding this concept of foreign keys and linked records can be useful as you take what you built in Airtable and eventually bring it to the engineers in your team. So you should now be an expert in Airtable linked records. I encourage you to go give it a shot yourself. Come back, let us know in the comments if you have any questions.